Hey folks, Ferdinand Filardo here with another edition of Ferdinand Filardo Homes, Realtor on the Road. Today's topic is the buyer representation agreement. I believe we had already touched base on a portion of this, or representation, with respect to speaking on the matter of multiple representation. Today we're just going to touch base on some of the more particular points that have come up within our practice in terms of dealing with past clients or current clients. Now, just to start off, the buyer representation agreement is a legally binding contract that exists between yourself and the brokerage, not, and I repeat, not the sales rep or broker themselves, okay? So let's just clear that out of the way. The fiduciary responsibility, though obviously you'd expect your broker and your agent to conduct themselves accordingly, exists with the brokerage, meaning the office itself. For example, in my case, I'm Ferdinand Filardo Homes, Ferdinand P. Filardo, the broker, but the contract is tied to or exists with Right at Home Realty. That's my house, if you will, or that's my brokerage. Secondly, or first point of note, it comes with a certain time commitment. That's something that can be agreed with between yourselves and the actual broker that you've chosen to work with. It can be anywhere from a couple months to as far as like 6 months. So, point of note, if it goes beyond 6 months, you're gonna have to initialize that and acknowledge the fact that it is going beyond the 6 month typical period. Now, second or thirdly, I believe there's a geographic area involved. Some folks, for the sake of expediency, just prefer, and it's been my practice too, I cite on the buyer representation agreement, I say General Toronto, or excuse me, Greater Toronto area, despite the fact that some folks may be only looking within a specific segment. Now, on this point, I'd like to just say, when you say, or when people look to shop, if you will, or look for properties within a particular area, try and afford yourselves the ability of soliciting someone that's well familiar with that particular area. For example, like I said, you're all probably well aware, I worked in Midtown area, Willdale area, downtown area. Downtown specifically, Distillery and St. Lawrence Market. Beyond that, there's going to be, I'm sure, other folks that know a little bit more about other neighborhoods. Though the fact that I grew up in the TO and I've been spread out all over the place, there are obviously some other folks that hold more inner information on the movement or the workings on particular neighborhoods. Okay, so my point is that they're going to be that much more holding of expertise on particular neighborhoods as opposed to someone who just generalizes in that particular area and actually has a house somewhere else or does most of his transactions in another particular neighborhood. Now, there's also a holdover clause. And some folks are actually surprised to hear about this particular point. It's a bit of a touchy issue. I'll give you an example of the reason why it exists. Like, if in the case or during the relationship your broker shows you a particular property, it protects them or the brokerage from you guys, if you will, to a certain degree. And I don't want to get too much backlash on this from either side, fellow brokers or buyers alike. But I'm just stating it as an example. From a potential buyer putting in an offer after the representation term or prior said commitment time has already lapsed. Okay, so it's a matter of being fair. If he or she showed you that unit, and then you guys go off, like say, post a holdover period, which is say for example 60 days, and then you guys decide to offer on it, if it's post the 60 days and then that's your prior agreed, that's fine. Then I would assume, legally speaking, speak to your lawyer on that point or your buyer rep. But if it falls within the confines of that prior holdover period, you may be susceptible to paying the commission to that prior broker that you would work with and that had also showed you that property. Bit of a sticky subject, so hopefully if everyone just plays nice and short, you won't even come across this bridge, okay? Lastly, another touchy point is the commission rates. Typically speaking, what's floating around right now is anywhere from 5 to 6%. The sellers will take care of the full boat, meaning the full commission, meaning 2.5% to your listing broker, the guy that's going to be trying to sell your property, and the other 2.5% to anyone who brings across a buyer. Okay, and that's typically how it's split up. It may vary 3.5% to 2% or 2% to 3.5%, just to entice the buyers to come aboard and bring an offer that much sooner or that much more attractive. These are some of the more germane points. If you guys want some more details, feel free to give us a shout. Be sure and follow us on all the social media sites: Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. If you have any questions, email us or give us a shout direct at the office, 416-391-3232. Ask for Ferdinand Filardo Homes or ask for me. And we can have a bit of a chat on whatever questions you may have. Thanks a lot. It's going to be a busy week. Hope you guys are staying dry. I hear it's also going to be a rainy week. So, ciao for now. Take care.